Hi, I'm Anthony, and I was named after my granddad. I would say this is an honor, but I do not deserve it. It is so sad that I realize it just now, and I don't have any possibility to tell him about it. My family lives in a small house in four, my parents, my sister, and me. I also had a grandfather who was a widower and who lived separately. We came to visit him from time to time, and he always was very energetic and positive. I was his favorite grandchild, named after himself, and resembling him a lot. When I was a toddler, we were best friends with my granddad. He taught me a lot of things, took me for long walks to explore the world, as he said, and all in all, was a perfect grandpa. While I was growing, I got my own interests that my grandpa couldn't share. Skating, music, friends, things like that. Suddenly I noticed that it was not as interesting to talk to my grandpa as it used to be. Well, it's normal. I didn't pass all the evenings with him as I used to, and just made a quick visit once a week or two. I didn't even notice that he was growing old. For me, he was the same Gramps. But at some point, he couldn't walk a lot anymore, and his eyesight got really poor. Once my parents informed me that it was difficult for Granddad to take care of himself, and thus they were going to make him live with us. Granddad didn't feel good about it. He said he would rather go to a nursing home not to bother anyone, but Dad insisted, because he thought it was always better to live with your folks at home. Maybe he was right. Grandpa got a room near mine, and my parents asked me to keep an eye on him, as far as we're good friends. Like helping him get down the stairs, or reading for him. Nothing complicated, as he was perfectly able to take care of himself. But at the time, I became a teenager, so I didn't enjoy the idea as much as I would several years ago. He was staying silently in his room nearly all the time, and didn't bother anyone. Sometimes he asked me something or tried to talk to me, but I was in a full flow of my teenage coolness. So he started irritating me a lot. You see, he was always trying to do something. I remember him taking my smartphone that was broken while I was absent, and making an attempt to mend it, obviously without any success. He broke it even more, so that became irreparable. He apologized a lot, justifying himself that he didn't see much. During the day, he was starting a conversation. He wanted to know a bit about my life, and asked me to tell him something. But I was always in a hurry, never had time for that, and thought that I had nothing in common with my grandpa. He was just smiling and giving me some money to buy the candies as if I was a kid. But after all I did, everything I was asked, helping, reading, and I thought that was the hardest chore. One day when I was 15, we were home alone and I was particularly irritated by something. Granddad asked me something and I just responded briefly and angrily to him. He said, "Okay, I will not bother you. I will go to my room to listen to some radio, but I'm always there if you want to talk." He left to the hallway, and suddenly I heard a sound of a falling body. I ran there, and it was my granddad who had fallen over the floor and not moving. I dragged him to his room. I was shaking him angrily and shouting something like, "Wake up, you old man, stop scaring me. Do you think I'm staying here all day with you? Get up now." But he didn't wake up. Then the ambulance came. They took Grandpa away, and I was staying in his room not realizing that it was all over. I didn't have a single thought. I was free now from that chore of keeping an eye on the old man, but I was not sure that was something that gave me the feeling of freedom. It all felt so bad, because I didn't even find the time to talk to him when he asked. I was shocked that day, and the next one's bitter realization came. I would give anything to get the possibility to read a newspaper out loud for my grandpa, or take a couple of bucks from him to buy candies, or give him even 10 smartphones so that he could try to mend them for me, or just go for a walk with him to explore the world and tell him anything he asked about. I felt horrible. Maybe I exaggerated a bit, but who wouldn't in my situation? Until one day, staying in Granddad's room, I found his diary. There was nothing top secret in it, so I just browsed. He was writing in huge letters of what he was doing these days in our home, when suddenly I spotted my name. Granddad was writing that I resembled himself as a teenager, and that of course I have some teenage quirks. but it was visible I was growing up a good person. It was such a good thing to have that diary. It gave me an idea that maybe I wasn't as nasty as I thought. I kept that diary with me, and from that moment on, I decided to grow up a man Grandpa would want me to be. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope that more people will hear it, and maybe it will make someone pay more attention to his beloved ones before it's too late.